I dare say there are many individuals, certainly from a wide variety of organizations, who would agree with you.
Well, perhaps
struggling, and yeah, we've worked with organizations that are using micro-credentials as the way to fast track the skills that their industry partners and their learners are demanding. But that the frameworks just aren't able to keep up with.
Well, you allude there to another myth, Dan, which is that what you learn at university is different to what you learn in a vocational institution, which, I think is a bit of a myth. I think the way curriculum is formed is different, but just take medical education. It's a competency-based framework taught at universities for really traditional reasons. I can't imagine a doctor wanting to go to TAFE to become a doctor. There's something socially about that I think is okay, but I know a lot of people would have trouble with. And I'm being humorous about that, really, but it is just a reflection that many of the things we've made, many of the decisions we make are cultural rather than based on need. And when you examine learning objectives in a university course, which is another source of micro-credential, if you like, and I know more in the area you've worked in, and if you examine a learning objective in a university course and compare it to a element in a unit of competency, sometimes it's pretty hard to really see the difference. And so I think there's a myth that they are different.
Yeah, and I think that's a great thread for us to pull on a little bit more there, Mark. So, and look, I think you're right. I mean, vocational, the vet sector has traditionally been about competencies, whereas a university might use the word mastery. But conceptually very, very similar. Yes. And skills seem to be the word or the concept that maybe is that universal language pulling all these sectors together.
The common ground with this is the work of Bloom, of course, who really developed the notion of mastery. We did spend a lot of time 20, 30, 40 years ago looking at Malcolm Knowles and the notion of what it means to learn as an adult. And a lot of what we've got in the vet sector comes from that line of thinking. But really, I think the common denominator where you can look at things and start to get data-driven approaches to skills design and skills development, which perhaps are more flexible and more able to keep more current. When you look at that, the work of Bloom becomes more useful, and Bloom's various updated taxonomies tend to be the common ground, I think, where all educators can sort of start from that point. And I think that's where we're heading, is trying to use the Bloom structure, which so many people are familiar with and base their thinking on, as a starting point for data-driven skills definitions, data-driven mastery definitions, capability definitions, and really, who cares where you learn it?
Right. Well, that's right. And ultimately it is about being able to provide evidence that you have that skill, that mastery, that competency. Use whatever word you want. That is still the ultimate the proof. And for years, a transcript provides no meaning in term. First, you often can't interpret what all the abbreviations are on the transcript, but it doesn't translate into who that person is, what skills they possess. And it doesn't, nor does it help them give them a voice to be able to share their own skills.
Yeah, it's interesting. Neither a resume or a job description are very accurate. The job description is never an accurate portrayal of the job, or rarely, and the resume is rarely an accurate portrayal of your skills. If we wrote down everything we knew, it would be pages and pages and pages and pages long. And sometimes it's some of those details are what you really need for a job. So one of the tricky things is, how do you deal with very large amounts of skills? How we deal with the thousands and thousands of skills we all have as human beings and acquire over a lifetime, and perhaps even lose too over a lifetime. Really tricky.